Good day, madam. Our group are going to present the analysis of 5 companies to identify the most efficient portfolio. Our group members are Cynthia Yu Ho Ai, Kelly Tan Jia, Leong Yu Wan, Stella Chai Lisan, and Ten Yi San. The 5 companies are RHB Bank Berhad, Malayan Banking Berhad, LAGENDA Properties Berhad, INARI AMERTRON Berhad, and DRB Highcom Berhad. The first analysis is compare between RHB Bank and Maybank. RHB Bank shows negative mean return while Maybank shows positive mean return. The correlations and covariance between the two companies is positive. This reveals that the stock price of two companies could increase and decreasing at the same time. Next, compare between RHB Bank and LAGENDA Properties Berhad. RHB is showing negative mean return while LAGENDA is showing positive mean return. The correlations and covariance between the two companies is positive. This means the two stocks is positively correlated to each other. Next, compare between RHB Bank and INARI AMERTRON Berhad. RHB is still showing negative mean return while INARI is showing positive mean return. The covariance and correlation of two companies is showing a positive sign, which reveals that the two stocks tend to move together, which when one stock has a positive return, the other also have a positive return as well.
HB Bank and DRB Highcom shows negative mean returns, and this means that investors would suffer losses when investing in these two companies. The covariance and correlation is positive, and this indicates that the stocks tend to move in the same directions. Both companies shows a positive mean returns where the mean returns of LAGENDA is greatly higher than Maybank. This means that investors will achieve higher returns from portfolio of LAGENDA. The positive covariance and correlations means that an increase in Maybank's stock price will also cause an increase in the others. Both companies shows a positive mean returns. However, investor will gain higher returns from portfolio of INARI as the mean returns of INARI is significantly higher than Maybank. The stock tend to move together since the covariance and correlation is positive. In this case, Maybank has a positive mean returns while the RB Highcom has a negative mean returns. This means that investors will gain profit when investing in Maybank and suffer losses when investing in the RB Highcoms. The covariance and correlation is positive and the stock tend to move in the same directions.
Now I will explain the analysis on LAGENDA and INARI. Both companies show a positive sign of mean return. This indicates that investors will gain a profit if invest in these two companies. Besides, both companies show a positive covariance. The positive covariance means the stock price of these two companies are positive related but in a weak relationship. The correlation of 0.64 means a moderate relationship between the two companies. This indicates that if the stock price of the LAGENDA increases, the stock price of INARI also increases in a small scale. For the analysis on LAGENDA and DRB Highcom, LAGENDA show a positive sign of mean return where DRB Highcom show a negative sign of mean return. This means that the investor will get a loss when invest in this company. Besides, both companies show a positive covariance and positive correlation. The last one is the analysis on INARI and the DRB Highcom. INARI show a positive mean return where the DRB Highcom show a negative mean return. Both companies show a positive covariance and positive correlation. We choose LAGENDA and INARI stock as our main stock in this assignment to find the most efficient portfolio. There are some reasons why we choose these two companies' stock as our main stock. The first reason is because the stock price of these two companies show a constantly rising. As compared to other three companies which are RHB, Maybank, and the RB Highcom, they show a constantly decrease from 2020 to 2021. Besides, both LAGENDA and INARI show a positive sign of mean return as compared to other three companies. Apart from that, both of them show a low standard deviation as compared with the other combination of portfolio. This means that LAGENDA and INARI have a lower risk and it is safe for the investor to invest in these two companies. The beta of LAGENDA and INARI also lower than the other three companies. The low beta indicates that the low risk if the investor invests in that company. Lastly, Legenda and INARI show a high return of portfolio if investor invest 50% in Legenda and 50% in INARI. This return of portfolio shows a higher return as compared with the other combination of portfolio. In conclusion, the combination of Legenda stock and INARI stock in a portfolio is more profitable than the other combination of portfolio.
Now I will give the background information of Legenda Property Berhad and INARI AMERTRON Berhad. Legenda Property Berhad is a property company on Busan, Malaysia. The company manages real estate development business and specializes in low-cost housing. Besides that, the company also engages in the construction of buildings. Meanwhile, INARI AMERTRON Berhad is the technology-listed company on Busan, Malaysia. The company specializes in the semiconductor packaging industry. Besides that, the company offers additional package assembly and test service, which is sensor device and so on.
I'm Gally. Now I'm going to present an analysis on the efficient frontier and a justification on the efficient portfolio of LAGENDA properties, BERHAD and INARI AMERTRON BERHAD. Based on the table and the graph, the first combination of the portfolio only includes INARI AMERTRON BERHAD stock. This combination has the highest mean return, which is 6.69% at 12.73% of the standard deviation, which represents the highest risk. From the first until the seventh combinations, the standard deviation decreased, but at the same time, the mean return also decreased. From the 7 to the 8 combinations, the mean return slightly decreased, but the standard deviation remained constant, which is 10.81%. From the 8 until the 11 combinations, the mean return decreased, but the standard deviation increased. For the 11 combination, it only includes LAGENDA properties BERHAD stock. This combination has the lowest mean return, which is 6.57% at 11.39% of the standard deviation. Among these 11 combinations, the most efficient portfolio is the portfolio that contains 60% in LAGENDA properties BERHAD stock and 40% in INARI AMERTRON BERHAD stock. This is because this combination has the lowest standard deviation, which is 10.81%, even though the 8 combination has the same lowest standard deviation with the most efficient portfolio, but its mean return only 6.61%, which is slightly lower than the most efficient portfolio, which is 6.62%. Therefore, if the investor invests in this most efficient portfolio, they can get the best return at the lowest risk. In addition, they will have the lowest risk to lose their investment. That's all for me. Thank you.
In the end, it is true that investment can be profitable for the investor. However, all investment is actually associated with risk. We will recommend investors to invest in a portfolio of LAGENDA and INARI stock. If investors choose to invest this portfolio, they will get the best return with the least risk. That's all for our presentation, and thank you for listening.